Let me just check the voice so you can see if it's working fine or not. Let me just check the voice. Oh, let me. Let me try setting the voice. Is it fine now? I'm trying to figure out if the voice is working fine or not. Okay, so let's start. And in this live stream, I'm going to experiment with the anti-gravity, which I'm going to use along with the VS Code. So the prime reason I'm trying these different tools is to get a flavor as well as and trying to escape the, I would say, the requirement for having a paid or subscription account. So previously what I was doing, if you can see, I was using Cloud Code. If I can quickly show you. So I was using Cloud Code with a paid account, but as we do have different tools available, so I have recently installed Antigravity. And for those who are aren't aware of it, so Antigravity is a tool provided by Google, which is behind the scene is using Gemini model. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this, and for the set purpose I have downloaded this anti-gravity over here. And the second thing which I'm going to use is the anti-gravity CLI. So basically what I'm trying to use, I'm going to use this anti-gravity CLI, which will help me use it inside the I would say VS Studio. So if I can quickly show you, so let me just move to this, and I have this already installed. So let me just try running that, and it says that this CLI tool is already installed. So let me just go within the VS Code uh, over here. This CLI tool is on. So now you can see I am within my VS Code. Let me just open the terminal, and over here, after installing this tool, what I'm going to run AGY, which is anti-gravity CLI tool. So let me just start that, and you can see I have the anti-gravity tool available with me, and you can see Gemini 3 Flash is going to get used as I have already logged in to my account. So it's going to use this CLI. Let me just ask it like I'm going to give it the Claude MD file, and I'm going to say brief me about the project. Brief me about the project. So you can see like Instead of staying stuck with the Claude code, what I have done, I have installed the evil anti-gravity, as we can't directly use that with the VS Code. So what I have done, I have installed anti-gravity, and within the VS, I am using this terminal. And you can see the quick response which I have received in this, like with this Gemini 3.5 Flash. And what I have received, you can see over here, what it says, like, here is a brief overview of the eShop CKC project, and what telling us. It's telling us like eShop CKC is a beginner friendly and the code base is structured. So what it's saying, how the code is structured, then it's getting different development commands. And in actual, this whole project is built using Visual Studio. And instead of using Visual Studio, I am using this over here. So I can do the same within the Visual Studio as well. Let's just try that as well. If I can quickly go to VS Insider, let me just open the same project. I'm going to open the terminal. It should be here within the. Let me just open the terminal, and I'm going to do the same over here, just for the ease of myself. AGY. So this is the anti-gravity terminal, and you can see it's signing in, and it is showcasing. I have this. Let me just, where is it on? Let me just pin it up. So instead of doing the same thing in the VS Studio, I can do it over here. So I'm just asking for, let me just see what models are available. Uh, so you can see currently what we are using Gemini 3.5, and we do have other models, and even it says we can use the Claude Sonnet 4.6 as well. So let's just try switching to that. So model is set to Claude, and you can see that we do not have a paid account as of yet, but we are able to use it. So let's just ask it how to assess the project. So using anti-gravity, what we are doing, we are using the Cloud Sonnet 4.6, which we are not able to use within our Claude code. Let me just provide it the claude.md file and tell me about project. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, I've written something wrong. So let's see how it works. So you can see it is creating certain thing, and it's providing actual roadmap and everything. So now I'm going to provide a prompt, which I'm going to say, like, just checking if provide a prompt which I'm going to say, like, let me check if the voice is coming or not. Just checking if provide a prompt which I'm going to say, like, okay. So with this, like using this Claude, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use this Claude to uh, create, because this is one of the application which I've created, uh, and you can see the playlist on my website. So this is basically the website, sort of an e-commerce platform created on top of eShop, which is a repository being provided by Microsoft, and they have been maintaining that. So I have created a gradual sort of things on top of that, and it's based on ASP.NET 9.0. And recently I've tried to switch it to 11.0, and for the same reason I am using Visual Studio Insider over here. For those who aren't aware of that, So Insider is like the next version, you can say, parallel to your actual Visual Studio. You can use the Insider to use these new versions. And as of now, 11 point for the .NET is not released as of yet, and it will be released in November. So I'm using this Insider to get access to that. Even I can do the same in the Visual Studio 2026, but for this I'll be keeping that. Let's just ask it. So I want to convert this monolith to microservices. Evaluate the project and, and give me a detailed plan to execute. Do not perform any code or implementation. So let's see how it responds to this prompt. So let's see how it responds to this prompt. So one thing you can see, like thought for a second, but it says that user wants to evaluate the eShop and create a detailed plan. So what it's doing, let me just do one thing. Let me put it over here, inside over here, so I can see the whole thing. And if I can change the, okay, I might need to see if I can change the font because it's a bit small. So let me just check out the fonts. Uh, Let me try increasing the size. On the text editor, it's going to be for the terminal. Let me just try increasing the size and let's see if it works or not. Yeah, seems fine. So what I have with me is what it's doing. I'm using Sonnet 4.6 with the anti-gravity terminal, and what I've asked it, so I've asked it to perform a migration plan from a monolith to a microservice. So what it says when I saw, if you, okay, what does it, okay, I think that was supposed to be removed. Okay, let's see if it's generating, and it seems like it's working, but it's working. Let me just do one thing. Let me just go try pasting it here. Okay, sorry, I should not have interrupted. So what I'm trying to achieve over here, I've asked this Cloud Sonnet version to use, and I'm trying to convert this to a microservice. Currently, this is a monolith, and along the way, when we'll be migrating this to become a microservice, we will be discussing the I would say the reason and the requirements for creating a microservice. Now, as of now, what I have asked it to generate the comprehensive migration plan. So let's see how it works. And one more thing, those who are like following. So I could have used it from the VS Code, but as the main thing is that I'm using Visual Studio. So I thought if I'm just going to use the CLI, so why not use Visual Studio terminal instead of doing it inside the VS Code. So let's see how it brings up and what's going to happen. So it's taking a while. It's keep loading. So let's see. So I've asked it to just create a migration plan, and it is and have said that nothing needs to be done from a development or implementation perspective. So let's see what I'm going to get out of it and how this Antigravity terminal is going to respond to me using this Cloud Sonnet tool or model. So, so one thing seems like it has created a migration plan, and what it's suggesting, like here is the okay, it's taking some time. So what it's saying that here's the complete migration plan. Key findings: the good news, your project is already mentally decomposed into microservices. The infrastructure layer has four separate DB context catalog, which I have already created in my last video when I was trying to make this to uh, turn into a microservices from a monolith. So I have created separate contexts. The bounded contexts are present here. We'll be discussing those when we move on. So what it's saying, the four exact coupling you must break. What it says, like basket service, order service, and these controllers, like these reads DB like catalog item DB directly for product name. So this is more of a coupled thing. So we'll see. Let's quickly go to the file which it have created, and if I can able to let's just say yes. So instead, let me show me the file location or to create it within the project folder root. Don't go for any implementation as of yet. So let's see, because I'm not able to see the file over here and it's somewhere inside that anti-gravity. So let's see if it can create it. Otherwise, I'm going to figure it out and we'll try to get it from there. Just hold on for a minute. I'll be back. So let me just check if the voice is coming properly or not. So let me just check. Okay, so seems like what I've asked, it have created the file from over here, and seems like it is using the exact location of this Gemini Antigravity CLI. So it's using that location. So let's see if it doesn't bring up. I'll try to figure out that exact path and then I'll try to open it from there. But I want this to be like available here. Still, it's working. I'm trying to read the file. if I get a clickable link to the file, I'll try to open that. Otherwise, let me just try to see if I can get hold of this. Okay, what it says, it have read that exact file and requested permission. Control O2 command. So requesting. Okay. So what it's asking for, yes, and always allow in this conversation. So I'm allowing it for this conversation to happen. So you can see the file is inside this. And if I can bring it inside that project, let me try looking at the things. If I can refresh that, it says the location is at the same folder. Let me just try opening that. You can see the file is there, but it's not part of the project. So let me try to add an existing item. I could have asked the project uh, this tool, but just to save our time, I have opened it over here. So this is the file which have been like added, and you can see it's within the root. And what it says, like let me try to change this file's font a bit. This is fine. So planning only, no code or implementation included. What it says, event-driven microservices with an API gateway using .NET 9 ASP core. One thing which I would be uh, trying to do, I'll be suggesting that I'm going to save or move it to 11.2. So then I'll be using that. And what it's saying, using minimal APIs. Part one is the current state analysis. What it has done, it have tried to assess the projects. So the projects which I have with me currently are the domain, the data presentation, and the test. So one is the core project, which is the domain where I have been keeping my entities, interfaces, and specification. The data itself is part of the infrastructure where repository, identity, all these are things are there. So it's just have looked at the project. Then the DB context, which is the existing DB context, which are part of these like already existing project. So what it says, the infrastructure layer already have separate DB context per domain, a very strong signal that the bounded constructs are well understood. Because we were planning to move this monolith to a microservice. So what we are trying to, what it have identified, it says that it could be easily, or at least it gives a very good signal for that. Then comes the DB context, what it shows like catalog, DB context, this basket DB and order DB and app identity. Let's just quickly see those as well within this infrastructure layer. If I can quickly open this, so you can see a basket DB context is over here, catalog is over here, order is over here. One more thing which I've said, catalog DB and what else? App identity. See, like it's part of this identity over here. So with this being said, the service inventory, which we have the service class, it haven't give that much of an information. So these are the exact line in the monolith where while it's a vulnerability. So what it's saying, cross-domain coupling problem. So what does it mean? Like certain things are violating the principles which are needed for creating a microservices. When we talk of microservices usually have their own boundaries. Like if we are creating multiple microservices, so every microservices preferably is going to use its own database, and it is not going to share anything with the other microservice. Otherwise, it's going to violate. and as our project was built being a monolith, so only these layers are segregating the data layer and the infrastructure layer, but these services are not that much separate. So we'll be looking at how it's suggesting and how we can do that. Then it's highlighting the problem, so that could give us a sense like these are the exact lines in the monolith. So what it says, like problem one, basket service read catalog item directly. So let's just quickly see, and then I'll be quickly showcasing you within the basket service.cs file. So if I can quickly go to that, so core service, not over here. It's going to be not over here. Let me just search it if I can get hold of it. Basket service. So this is within the service. Okay, within the web, this is there. And if I can go to the plan, what it's saying on this line 102. If I can quickly go to the exact line, I could have shown it on the same line, but I want to give one exact context regarding within the web. What we are doing, we are using this basket service to create a basket, and it is suggesting on the 109 what we are doing, we are trying to pull the catalog and get by id, and this is going, and what it says over here, if I can quickly go, it says uh, basket reads catalog item directly. So basket should have read its own basket, but not the exact catalog. Just hold on for a minute. But okay, so let's resume from where we just left. Let me check the voice again. Okay, let me check the voice again if I can. So let's resume from where we just left. Check the voice again. Okay, so we are discussing this problem one. So basket service, what it's doing, it's using the catalog item, and why it's a problem. So again, it's telling us. So not just it's telling that I'm going to create this as a microservice. The reason of violation, it's telling us. The basket service queries the catalog DB directly to enrich basket item. So what it's saying, basket service is querying the catalog database directly to enrich baskets item. Why product names are in with product names and in microservice each service. This is the major thing. Like in microservice, each service own its data. This must become a HTTP call or a cached de-anonymized copy. So in case if we need to access this, either we need to have an HTTP call, which is the preferred one. We are going to call the other service and we are going to get the data from there. So we should not get this. The second problem, which is highlighting over here, so that's order service, which reads both basket and catalog item. So within the order service, if I can quickly go to the order service, let me just go to the service, and you can see over here, this is the order service which we have created. And what problem is stating? It reads both basket and catalog item. So again, because what it have identified, like we have four boundaries or four, you can see catalog, basket, order, and app identity as a like four different DB contexts. So it's suggesting to at least have four different services which should be running independently and should have their own segregated data. So let me just go over here, try using this, and if I can go to the exact location. So this is the app identity. Let's just go to the problem, and it's a order creation requires data from the two other domains because it's suggesting like these, and we have already done it using the DB context. So it's suggesting like it's requiring the data from two other domain, which is not suggested. So this must become an event-driven flow. And for those who aren't aware of microservices based development, in microservices, when a microservice is going to interact with another microservice, it's going to use an event based flow. So RabbitMQ or Apache Kafka is going to be used. If I can quickly draw it, so let me just use paint. So if I'm going to use the paint, let me just make it bigger. So I'm going to use the hexagon, and hexagon, the reason I'm using it, if you would be referring to a book which I'm going to quickly show you, uh, like if you are using a good book like building microservices, so it is suggesting to use hexagon for these services. So let's say within this service, as you are going to have, if I can quickly show you, it's suggesting four things. uh, let's say it's a basket service. So what I'm going to create, I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Let me just create the second one as well. And beside that, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use it as an order service. So let's just keep it inside that. And let's say if they need to interact with each other, so what they need to do, they need to access Apache or Kafka, or you can see Rabbit MQ slash Kafka, any message broker. And what is going to happen if it needs to communicate this with all with this service? So it is going to use this event driven uh, way, it's going to send a event based message over here in this broker, and order is going to consume. So this is just a very high level overview. And what I'm going to do further, I'm going to explore this further, and let's see what other problem I'm going to face. So now I'm going to use this basket, and what it said, the web layer is orchestrating an order preparation from within the basket. So again, it have highlighted one more thing. Like our web layer is trying to create this from within the basket controller. So from this perspective, our basket controller should not try to create this order segregation. What it says, this is a tight synchronous coupling. So, as you might know about a topic which is very well known in computer science, that the main suggested thing is high cohesion and low coupling. What does it mean? When we say high cohesion, so it means all the relevant things which are relevant to each other, and where one change might be triggering another change on the other thing. So these things which are having a high cohesion should be kept in a similar manner, or I would say in a closed manner, in a similar service or in a similar module. But low coupling means like the system should not be very tightly coupled, in a sense like if I change one thing, I need to change everything. So it should be a bit not so tightly covered. It should be loosely covered. So this is the main thing which over here, this microservice, when we have asked our Sonnet model to help us create a microservice, what it's suggesting or highlighting that there is a high coupling. And when we talk about microservices, so microservices promote a way of low coupling. What does it mean? Like let's say we have two microservices. One is order microservice and one is basket. So if these microservices are created or built or deployed separately, so we can easily modify one without having to interrupt or change or perform any change in the other one. So one service can keep working and the rest can be deployed easily, and the code impact is not going to hit the other service unless and until you have modified an interface. So what it says, it must be replaced with an event or an API gateway aggregation. So we'll see to that. So the fourth thing, what it's highlighting, it says like account controller calls iBasket on login. So why this is the identity or service mutates basket state directly. One more thing, in a microservice, a user login should get trigger the to the transfer. So what does it mean? Let's try to grasp it. The identity service mutate basket state directly. In microservice, a user logged in event should trigger the basket service to do the. So it says that what is currently being done over here in this account controller. So this service is changing the state of the basket on its own. So in microservice, it should have been done by this basket service. We will see to that once we move forward. And one warning it have highlighted, which is of like it is not implemented. We'll see to that. The part two, what it's suggesting is the target infrastructure. So we'll see to that what's the target infrastructure it's suggesting. So it says that like microservice, what it's suggesting, uh, catalog API, a basket API, a order, and identity. So you can think like these four have been suggested as a different microservices, and it's suggesting ASP.NET Core minimal API. And once we move forward, what it's suggesting an API gateway, single entry point, routing, auth validation, and it's suggesting to use YARP, which is a .NET based reverse proxy. So we'll see to that. Even we can use any other gateway like Nginx also, but we will try to explore YARP, which is tightly or easily available within this .NET ecosystem. Then comes a web backend for front end. So what does it do? It's aggregate data from API for the Razor UI and an ASP code and MVC. So we'll see to that. It's suggesting that either we are going this way or not, because currently we are using ASP.NET Core MVC. Later down the road, I might use Angular as a micro front end with this service. But as of now, I'm not going to change that much because we have built a long way till here. Uh, and then if I can quickly show you the playlist so you get an idea what I'm talking about. So let me bring up that playlist first and then we will go to that. So let me just bring up the playlist. Where is it? Okay, okay, let me try to grab that. This is the one which I'm talking about. If I can bring it up. Okay. So for those who are going to watch it for the very first time, so they will see that what I'm talking about. Basically, what I've done, I have created this like eShop using within ASP.NET Core .NET 9, and previously it was entirely done with like a step-by-step guide and with no AI assisted development. So what we have done over here, the same code have been pushed to the repository as well, so you can refer to that as well. So uh, like one by one, what I've done over here, set up the project, then I have created this EF4 DB context and pagination over here, and everything have been used within the ASP.NET Core. And then what I've done over here, build up again for the some things have been added. Then I've added like partial views and razor views over here. And then what I've done, I have changed the layouts, so master the layout as well. Then what I've tried to do it, I have used over here the railway for deploying it for free, because you need free, you do not have like host it on Azure, without having a credit card. So this environment, which is railway platform, you can deploy it over here for free. At least you get $5 once you create an account. There are another platform which we will be discussing further down the road. Then I've implemented ASP.NET Core Identity in this project, and moving forward, what I've done, I have like implemented the domain driven and repository pattern over here. Then comes the specification pattern. I have used the specification pattern for searching and making it easy to search. Then comes the basket. Then comes the pagination and the sign out for the like ASP.NET history. Then the card and the order history. So moving that way, what I've built an entire like e-shop application. And now what I'm trying to achieve over here, I'm trying to move from this monolith to a microservice. What it have suggested to create 4 services. Now the second thing, what it's suggesting is talking about the communication pattern. So you can see what it's saying, like synchronous HTTP calls query from data read for display HTTP client with Poly resilience. Poly is again a .NET base .NET sort of library, you can say, which is used to retry and build a resilient model, which we'll be using Poly as well. And the second thing which is suggesting is asynchronous events, which is like state changing cross domain operations. So we are going to use RabbitMQ, and I would not be using this service bus because it might be requiring us to have a Azure account. And the third thing which is suggesting is to have a gRPC. So obviously we are not going to use this gRPC because protocol buffer type of migration and contracts are do required on that. Then comes the event catalog. So what it says, like, but it's helping us because when we are moving towards microservices, what does it do? It helps us create certain events which we need to publish, and any other subscribing service is going to use that. So what it's saying, like it's saying the basket checkout initiated. Let's say if someone comes and like try to check out something, so what does it do? It have a basket API, then order API, and trigger order creation from basket content. Then the another event it's suggesting is order created. So within the order API, and who are the like publisher? Basically, this order API is going to be the publisher, and basket API is going to be the subscriber. And what's the purpose? You can see if I can quickly do it this way, because it's like, let me just tab it. Just tab it over here. This way we are able to see properly. Let me just try to tab it. And what else? From a purpose perspective, let me try. So at least we get exactly what we are looking for. Let me just do this way. Okay. So at least we are able to get what the publisher is, then or who the subscriber. So basically order created. So order API is going to be the publisher, and basket API is going to be the subscriber. And what it says, the confirm order placed, clear the basket. So once order is created, so like it says that clear the basket. So based on this event, it's going to do that. Then comes the order change within. So what does the order API is going to do? Let's say if any status of the order is going to get changed, the notification API, which is saying future, because it doesn't find any code related to the notification API. So it says how we are going to inform the user of status update. Then is the user login API. So identity API is the one which is the publisher, and basket API, which is going to transform anonymous basket to authenticated user. So these are certain events which are being used. So we will see to that how we are going to create those. Then comes the browser and the client. And over here you can see once the call is reaching, so it's going to reach the HTTP, then the API gateway, YARP, which we are going to implement, and how it's going to route is going to route to a specific service where it's going to get landed, and it's going to validate a JWT on all secure routes. So we are going to secure it using the JWT token, which we are going to issue from this identity API. Then comes the all these services. You can see the four services, and all are going to have DB. And one more thing you can see, like for this service, basket API, it's suggesting to have a Redis cache rather than having a persistent DB, because baskets are not going to store permanently. And behind the scene, there is a message broker called RabbitMQ, which will be implementing. Let's see what else it's asking us to create. So bounded context design, what it says, catalog service bounded context. So what it owns, catalog item, catalog brand, and a catalog type. Then API endpoints, what it's suggesting. So it's suggesting this API catalog and publishes to this database. So and the basket service. I'm not going into too much detail over here because uh, I'll see to this once I'll move forward. So it's suggesting some bounded context for this. Uh, so migration strategy. Then comes the Strangler fit pattern. So this is the main thing which most of the when we are moving a monolith from existing app to microservice, what it says, rather than a big bang right. What does it mean? Like changing everything, it's suggesting to use the Strangler fit pattern. So what does it say? Incrementally extract services while keeping the monolith running. So we'll try to extract a single service out of what we have created, and then we will try to interact. And what it's suggesting, routing the traffic to the new API gateway progressively. And as we are going to use the YARP, we will see to that. So foundational model, it have identified how we are going to do it, set up shared infrastructure before touching any business. So what it's suggesting, create new solution for microservices and setting up a gateway message broker, and then shared NuGet package, shared event contracts. So we'll see to that. Then using the Docker Compose, because it's suggesting currently we are running it right away from our system. So when we are going to use the Docker, it's going to spawn the different microservices in a Docker based environment. And then it's suggesting GitHub Actions CI, which is going to build and test pipeline for the new solution. So we'll see to that because it's going to take a while. And what's the deliverable? A running API gateway that proxies 100% of traffic to the existing monolith. User notice no change. So mostly a monolith is going to be served via uh, yet another reverse proxy. So that's the first thing. Then we are going to the phase one. First thing which is suggesting is to extract the identity API. Then we are going to extract the catalog API service, and then we are going to extract this basket service, and then in the very last we are going to extract the order service. Document decommission the one web service, so it's suggesting that. Um, then the cross-cutting concern, which is going to address. We are not going to see each and everything. So there are so many things, other things. So I'm going to keep this as a part of the project. And basically what I started with was just trying to use anti-gravity with my project. And one thing which I found along with the anti-gravity, so instead of using the like Google's model, I have opted to use Anthropic model, which is Sonnet 4.6, and which is very good to achieve certain things. So with this way, I am able to use this, and I'll be keeping my like live session till here. We have created this, and I'll try building this project, and we'll be pushing it on the repo. And from there, I'll be moving in the next sessions. I'll be moving to create all these phases one by one, setting up the reverse proxy like in future. So thanks for watching till here. And if you want to like add something? Is there anything which you like to add? So feel free to leave the comment so I can address those in future. So thank you for watching. Bye.